Dial 911. Where is your emergency?
I just walked into my apartment and my friend is just like, he's unconscious.
Okay, what's your address, ma'am?
I live at Hawthorne at the View.
Give me the address.
I just moved here. I'm about to get it. Oh my God. It's 5639 Old Chapel Hill Road in Durham.
Okay, you say your friend is unconscious?
He's unconscious. I just walked in the apartment and there looks like there's blood everywhere.
Listen to me.
Hello and welcome. My name is Mike and let's just get right into the unsolved case we're looking at in this video. In 2012, 19-year-old Faith Hedgepeth, a third-year undergraduate at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, was found beaten to death in her off-campus apartment. She was last seen alive when she was returning home that morning after spending the night out clubbing. There was a lot of evidence at the crime scene, including DNA, a note, and even a voicemail, but at this moment, the case remains unsolved. What really happened to Faith Hedgepeth leading up to the morning she was murdered? Faith shared her apartment with roommate Karina Rosario, whom she'd become friends with in her first year. Rosario's boyfriend, Eric Takoy Jones, also had lived there for a time. However, her roommate's relationship with Eric was not by any definition healthy, aka domestic violence. Karina eventually ended it and Eric moved out of the apartment. However, a few months before Faith's death, Eric tried to break into the apartment twice. Faith then got Karina to get a protective order against Eric. As you can imagine, he wasn't really a fan of that. He hated Faith for having influence over Karina, and by, being a general decent human being who didn't want her roommate and friend to be getting the shit beaten out of her by her ex-boyfriend. Reportedly, Eric threatened to kill Faith if Karina did not get back together with him. And Faith ends up dead. Wow, I know what you're thinking. It's a real whodunit. But there is a lot more to this story. Let's get into the timeline of the night she was murdered. At approximately 1 a.m. on Friday, the 7th of September 2012, Faith and Karina arrive at a nightclub, The Thrill, where they meet up with friends and party. There, they met up with a fella named Brandon Edwards. Brandon was also an ex-boyfriend of Karina, but they were still friendly. About an hour and a half later, they head home. Karina had had a little too much to drink. About an hour later, at 3:40 a.m., a text message is sent from Faith's phone to Brandon Edwards, saying, "Hey B, can you come over here please? Karina needs you more, Please let her know you care." A few minutes later, the word "then" is texted to Brandon from Faith's phone, presumably to autocorrect a mistake. It's meant to say, "She needs you more than you know." However, Karina's phone records show that she was calling Brandon Edwards at around the same time. Maybe she wasn't able to get through to him and Faith was trying to help her out. When there was no response, Karina then reached out to UNC soccer player Jordan McCrary, someone she also may or may not have been having a relationship with. At 4:25 a.m., Karina left the apartment, got into McCrary's car, and headed to his apartment. Karina said she saw Faith sleeping when she left. The front door, however, it was left unlocked. At around 11 a.m. the next morning, Karina returns home. She finds Faith dead on Karina's bed in Karina's bedroom. She then calls 911.
Okay, how old is she?
She's 19.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't want to touch her, but...
Listen to me. Is she breathing?
I don't know.
You need to check and see. Is she breathing?
Hey, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay, listen to me.
There's blood everywhere.
There's what?
There's blood everywhere.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Okay, is she on her back or is she laying on her stomach?
She's on her back, but like I think she fell off the bed because she's like off the bed. There's blood all over the pillows, like in the comforter. I just don't know what happened.
Okay. All right, listen to me, all right?
Is someone coming?
Yes, I've got somebody coming. I need for you to help her. I need for you to go up to her. We need to see if she's breathing or not, okay?
I don't think so.
Okay. Listen to me. Go up. The paramedics are on their way. I want you to stay on the line. I'm going to tell you what to do next, all right? Are you right by her now?
Yes.
Okay. Listen carefully. Listen. She's not moving. Okay.
No.
Will you touch her arm? Tell me, how does she feel?
She's not moving.
Okay, ma'am. We need to find out if we can help her or not. You've got to, do as I'm asking so we can help her. All right?
Okay.
Okay. If you can, lay her flat on her back. Remove any pillow.
Lay her flat on her back.
Flat on her back. Remove any pillow.
Okay.
Okay. Kneel next to her. Look in her mouth for food or vomit.
Blood everywhere.
Okay. Kneel next to her. Look in her mouth for food or vomit. Tell me something. Listen to me. What is your name?
Karina.
Faith was covered by a blanket on top of a mattress with large amounts of blood surrounding her. Faith had been killed by blunt force trauma to the head. The autopsy report detailed cuts and bruises on her arms and legs, and blood under her fingernails. A bottle that was normally kept in the kitchen was found in the bedroom, with tissue fragments and DNA on it. The room was a complete mess. Karina told the 911 operator that there were items in the room that were not hers, and it looked like someone else had been there. Faith was found with her shirt pulled up and no clothes from the waist down. Police found semen on Faith, and it was reported that DNA from the semen matched male DNA found elsewhere in the apartment. There was also a small white paper bag found on the bed, with the words, "I'm not stupid, bitch, jealous," scrawled across it. Police believe that this note was written by her killer. A handwriting analyst indicated that the handwriting does appear to have been written with disguise, and seems to have been written with a non-dominant hand.
What struck me was how clean the document is. The crime scene was pretty bloody, and there's nothing on this document. Looking at it, I would get the impression it was either written outside of the crime scene or it was written before, like a premeditation. The writing also indicates that it's written with what we call disguise.
Police questioned and DNA tested many of the men Faith and Karina had seen that night. They also attempted to DNA test many of the men who were in the nightclub that night, but there was absolutely zero matches with anyone. As you can imagine, Eric Tacoy Jones stood out as the prime suspect almost immediately. He was already known to be violent, and had said before he would kill Faith if she got in the way of Karina getting back with him. The day before Faith was murdered, Eric posted on Twitter asking them to forgive him for what he was about to do. 3 days after Faith's death, he changed a cover photo on his Facebook page to "Dear Lord, forgive me for all my sins and the sins I may commit today. Protect me from the girls who don't deserve me and the ones who wish me dead today." However, twist, Eric was very cooperative with the police, and ultimately his DNA was found to be not matching any of the DNA they found in Faith's apartment. Eric stated to news reporters that, "From what I knew of her, she was the sweetest person in the world. If you needed her and she could do it, she was there. I'll be honest with you. Whoever did this deserves to burn." Okay. Ultimately, $39,000 was offered as a reward for information leading to an arrest for whoever was responsible for Faith's death. Now, all records surrounding this case were closed. A court order was actually obtained, sealing every single bit of information that came in. They didn't even publicly reveal the cause of Faith's death. It was the university student newspaper, the Daily Tar Heel, that discovered a lot of information about how this case was investigated by the police. The Tar Heel and other news organizations petitioned the court to release documents relating to the case, as the police were getting nowhere. However, the court refused. Two of the neighbors told reporters that while the police sealed off the apartment, they only searched the women's apartment and not any of the others in the building. Nor did they search the woods behind the apartments, and they only returned later to search one other apartment in the complex. They did not canvass the area either, never asking residents what they might have seen. The police also left Faith's car unsecured while they searched the apartments. The police did not even ask to see the footage of the nightclub's security cameras the night Faith died. They only got around to it 19 months later, after a reporter tried to do it. He was investigating the case, but by then, the footage had been recorded over. In July 2014, the court finally ordered the records be unsealed. A number of pieces of information came out, including the 911 call, the note left at the crime scene, the autopsy report, and also, very interestingly, an accidentally recorded conversation from a voicemail. The conversation took place at the nightclub, the night Faith died. The conversation is very unclear and hard to make out. Here is the call with a transcript of the enhanced voicemail, which was posted by a local journalist, Tom Gasparoli, who reported on the case. In September 2016, Chapel Hill police released an image of what the suspect who left DNA might look like, based purely on the phenotype of his DNA profile. Chapel Hill police have not named any persons of interest or suspects in this case. However, they did state they do not believe this murder to have been merely a crime of opportunity, but rather the murderer was someone in her social group and probably someone she knew at university. They are certain the killer or killers knew Faith Hedgepeth and have interviewed 2,000 people with DNA tests done on 750 of those. They have mapped the relationships of many of those interviewees with Faith Hedgepeth and each other, and have reportedly narrowed a pool of 1,000 possible suspects down to 10. Karina Rosario has been long suspected to know much more about this case than she ever let on. This is due to her 911 calls, the last texts sent from Faith's phone to Karina's former boyfriend, and her decision to leave the apartment unlocked with, as she claims, a sleeping Faith inside, to go sleep somewhere else at 4:30 the morning of the killing. She has since left North Carolina, but reportedly still maintains contact with the police regarding this case, but the police have said they do not believe they have gotten the full story from Karina. I agree. And yet, with the abundance of evidence, this case still remains unsolved to this very day. We may never know who murdered Faith Hedgepeth back in 2012, but reportedly, the police are still working on it, so maybe they'll get somewhere someday. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it. I'll see you real soon in the next video. As always, Mike out.